So, we're going to look at the 7 privacy by design principles. I'm going to focus mostly on the first and fourth principle, but we will walk through each of these 7 design principles. The first principle is proactive, not reactive. The key concept here is the earlier you embed privacy principles into your design processes, the easier it is to implement. For example, if you were holding a student conference and the students use a conference registration system to register for the conference, you would collect their details during the application process. But perhaps after the conference, you then ask, could we invite all of these students to come on a summer project with us or send them ongoing communication? If you think about this right at the beginning, when you're still designing the application form, it's as simple as adding maybe 1 or 2 lines of text to your application form that makes it clear to the students that we want to have an ongoing relationship with them. That's trivial. But doing so after the conference can be a little hard, as we re-establish the purpose for which we have collected their data. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's much easier to do privacy well when you think about it early. The second principle is privacy as the default setting. This means we should assume that people want to keep their data private and ask for permission or make it clear when we're going to do anything different with it. So we should assume that they're not consenting for their data to be used in some unusual way and assume that the privacy is the default setting. The third principle is privacy embedded into design. Privacy embedded into design means that no matter what our design process is, when we're processing personal data, we should think about privacy during that design process.
The fourth principle is really important. It's full functionality. The key concept here is if privacy is hindering your effectiveness, you're probably doing it wrong. In theory, privacy should reinforce the effectiveness of your ministry. It shouldn't be fighting against it. I think sometimes privacy could be thought about as the privacy police, stopping you from doing things with data that you want to do. But actually, privacy is about the appropriate use of data, which means we want to reinforce and help simplify the effective and appropriate use of data. You may be surprised to see this in the list of principles, especially knowing that this set of principles is baked into EU privacy law. Privacy is meant to reinforce the effectiveness of the organization. It should be win-win. The fifth principle is end-to-end security. This means that from the moment we collect personal information, for as long as we keep it, until it's finally removed, we are responsible for everything that happens with their data. Even if we pass that data on to someone else or use a vendor to help us process that data, we are responsible for the security of the data from end to end. The sixth principle is visibility and transparency. Again, you might be surprised to see this on a list of privacy principles, but we are to be transparent with everything we are doing with other people's data. It helps build the trust of our data subjects when they know exactly what we're doing with their data and why we're using it in that way. And finally, the last principle is respect for user privacy. This means that we need to respect the user's right for privacy and not just assume that they want us to use their data in the way that we want to use it. They have rights, and we are to respect their right to privacy. By adhering to these principles, organizations can build trust with their users, ensure compliance with data protection laws, and reduce the risk of data breaches and other privacy incidents. Privacy by design promotes a culture of privacy within organizations and ensures that privacy is considered at every stage of the developmental and operational process.